this is including trails. We're at about 3.5 acres. So that's 2.75% of the site. If you go back to the earlier slide and look at the current conditions of the site, really that 3.5% is mostly coming out of the agricultural and developed areas of the site. So really the 63% of the forest, the only impact is 1% where the trails are going, which again, if you look at our trails, they're not an impervious structure. So again, that's even, we're kind of being overly, counting that as development, we're kind of erring on the side of it's debatable how it actually is. But overall, the majority of the development would come out of areas already impacted. Circulation for the site, again, we'd be looking at about a combination of trails, but overall there's about 2 miles of trail system that will be going in, and that's a combination of about 1.3 miles of an aggregate trail. We would have 0.6 miles, just over a half mile of asphalt trails, and that's mostly up around the parking area in connection to the bike trail. That's very similar to what we've done at other parks. Again, those are nice accessible trails. They're good for kids, young kids, and also seniors or people who may need accessibility. It's kind of a good distance where, again, you can get out and enjoy the park, but you're not going out maybe on a 1.5 mile hike where you get halfway out and it's kind of a little longer than you anticipated. For people who like to hike a little bit further and kind of get out and enjoy it, we are going to offer the 1.3 mile kind of aggregate trail, and then the nature-based play would be sort of the short link over here. So again, we do offer the ability to kind of have intermittent loops. So again, we're trying to sort of give every user a range of what they might enjoy out there. We do have some wetland areas. These would be boardwalks that we'd have to do through wetland areas to not impact those wetlands. So we're looking at about 290 linear feet of wetland areas. And then for the parking area, we're looking at about 64 spots up and around the shelter. And we have some thoughts there too, where we could do some things for overflow parking along the edges with grass pavers and those sort of things. So it's more of a grass area, but again, during a larger event, if we have, you know, even this is an area where if you had a 5K or something along Maple Island Trail in the past, we've had some things through, I think it wasn't Susan B. Komen, but I know there was an event the last few years where they ran from Mountain Mill Station. This would be an area where you could have a 5K from like Chardon down to here, so it would give us the ability to park cars a little bit more in some areas for those larger events. And then we would connect to the Maple Highlands Trail, which is basically 21.3 miles of trail. So it's really a great opportunity by developing this park where we're really opening residents of the county up to roughly 25 miles of trail, which, I mean, from a circulation standpoint is great, where people from Middlefield can basically come on a trail system all the way up here, enjoy the park, make it a day picnic, those sort of things. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities with developing this property that it opens things up all on the bike trail. For the shelter and kind of event space area, again, this is sort of preliminary design, but we'd be looking at kind of a structure that could accommodate between 50 and 100 people. The reason we're at that number is, like I said, outside of the rookery, most of our shelters comfortably can kind of handle about 50 people all year round, like Bass Lake, Sunnybrook, Orchard Hills. This would give us another shelter that actually all year round could handle a larger group. The stormwater management would be these areas here, and we'd actually kind of incorporate that into a feature. It'd be a great opportunity to kind of give a little bit of education to users and the public about the benefits of stormwater management. Geauga County, I think it's like 90% of the water is well water out here. So stormwater management and water quality is really important to this county. And I think a lot of times people lose sight on what these, you know, they see these bioswales and they don't really pick up what their benefit is, but that's stormwater management and water quality. So that's helping with the groundwater aquifer. So that's something we use as kind of actually sort of a focal point out in front of the shelter. We have kind of this lawn space here where we're showing tents could be set up, again, for little events or private events that people use in the shelter. It gives them the ability to maybe have a little bit more space during nicer months. Again, for our natural staff, camps, events, those sort of things, it gives us another alternative besides the Westwoods and Big Creek, maybe where we could have some things. And then this just gives you a concept of sort of initially what we're looking at, opening up a lot of windows so you could see out to the pond area. It's really unique because we only would be a nice way to kind of incorporate that element a little bit more. And this is where I was talking about just parking options where we can do some grass pavers where it's kind of a honeycomb system with grass growing through where you can cover without tearing up the lawn areas and that. And then for the nature-based play, this would be looking at again where logs, climbing walls, rock climbing, ropes, course type elements, things where we can really start to, from talking to the naturalists a little bit, there's kind of that underserved dynamic of when you get to kids a little bit older, like, getting into those middle school years, that, some of the playgrounds maybe don't offer as much. So this would be a way where it's a little bit more challenging, and even for older kids, middle school age and that, this would be something where there's going to be things for them to do. The other nice thing about the location is, picturing from Chardon to here 4 miles, you can ride down, even with larger kids, that's not a bad bike ride, so the family can come down. It offers a lot of opportunities. Again, we have a pond with fishing, bird watching, those sort of things. So, I mean, again, it's a great property from offering a variety of amenities to different user groups. And that's just kind of looking back from the edge of the property back towards where the shelter would be kind of up in this area here. So that's the High Kaplan Master Plan Development. So really for these projects, we're at a point now where we'd be looking at going out and involving consultants, which was part of the 2016 budget. We always budget for our architectural and engineering services. To give you a sense, preliminary cost-wise, we're looking at, for the playground, we're probably looking at something in around the $50,000 range. For Maple Highlands trails, the asphalting and the nodes and kind of the stormwater management aspect, we're looking at about $1.3 million. And then for High Kaplan, we'd be looking at a $1.4 million cost at this point based on the level of design we're at. As we work through design development, we do update those costs, but that's kind of where we're at right now with this level of detail.
You can do all of that at High Kaplan for 1.4?
Well, this little section here would be phase 2. We would do that internally, probably with a construction crew, and that would be something we're probably looking at more like 2018. Design-wise, we'd have everything designed, but that's something that we would probably do internal. As we work through design too, Jackie, that's where we'll identify that with the trail systems. If it makes sense maybe to have our construction guys do it. They do a nice job. They have a pretty low impact when they go on new trails. If you've seen some of the trails our guys do, they do a nice job. So that's something too where once we get into design development, we may identify if this is something we want to do internally.
So the purpose of presenting this now is we've worked very hard on timelines and schedules as part of the planning process. So it's our planners, we've got a great team of planners as they hand things down to the board and through the executive director, then on the staff. Timelines are important, so things don't come up for discussion and they come up 2 years later and we've already paid for design engineering. So the idea would be when we don't need a motion at this point, we would entertain motions throughout the budgetary process, or as we award contracts, we want to make sure you, the board, are in agreement with these 3 projects so we can go ahead and start soliciting for design engineering services, because then that's where we start to spend money. And we don't want to come back 3 months later, oh, we changed our mind, we don't want to do the project. So kind of looking to say, are you in agreement? And if so, Matt will pursue services, design engineering services. So what do we have budgeted this year? Do you recall?
We had roughly 235, but I think we have approximately 200,000 left because some of it was for projects we have going on right now.
So we don't need a motion, but is there any discussion or any questions?
I'll leave it back to that.
Disagreements?
I love. I love getting people the opportunity, because the thing that I fear the most is, drugs in our county. What can we offer to get these kids, doing healthy activities? I absolutely love it. It stems off of last month when I was talking about the Boy Scout opportunity. This will draw more scouts, especially with the older, High Kaplan. I love that structure. I think it will get older kids in there, and I think a lot of scouts will want to do events there, and Love it.
And actually, one thing when we're looking at this, that, really we have, where High Captain sits, Big Creek Park has some shelters, but they're all open shelters. So, I mean, they're great when the weather's good. Observatory Park, again, has sort of an open shelter, but really outside of Bass Lake and then at Headwaters, we have the new shelter. There's actually, up in this part of the county, there's really not a lot of opportunity for a shelter to be used all year. So again, I mean, Northeast Ohio, I mean, pretty much May through September you can count on, but really having something that even, for those other 6 months, I think especially, looking at this portion of the county, offers something that, really when you look at our other holdings up here, we don't have a lot of that opportunity, so.
Well, and I appreciate the fact that you guys spend so much time trying to not develop a huge ton of it already developed, portions of this property in very, very small amounts.
And we do work with, Paul does a great job in the natural resource management team of putting together management plans, and they really kind of identify, and even in the wetland areas, they identify some buffer areas that we try to adhere to. So, we walked out, Paul went and walked all the trails with us. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, it's a great piece of property, but yeah, we take about a year's worth of time before even Matt and I start talking about it. Natural resource management studies the property for a year, inventories, the sensitive areas, the wetlands, the streams, where there are rare plants, there's endangered plant populations on this property, and Matt and I talked about them, and how to protect those natural features and develop it, with that in mind and properly, protecting things. So there's a lot of effort that goes into it, just a few minutes of talk, there's a couple of years worth.
Another thing to be aware of, we have been talking with Middlefield. We will be pursuing a long-term use agreement with the Village of Middlefield. I'm proposing 50 years. I don't like lifetime agreements because you tie someone's hands forever, but the thinking is that's more than the life of asphalt because we are funding this project. They are going to pursue grants on our behalf. They have a grant writer on the staff, but I just feel, and the team agrees that this would be so neat to have this trail paved from virtually county line to county line. It goes, with it going to Swine Creek, it goes almost to Trumbull County. So barring no disagreements or any other questions, we're going to go ahead and keep the ball rolling. This is the first project particularly related to Hyde Kaplan where I've been involved with, where we've been able to work timelines and the planning process. It's been like a well-oiled machine, getting Paul in there a year and a half ago, Matt keeping the timelines. It's just so important because if you don't follow those timelines, as you know, Len, you've been in the contracting business, you lose money. So we want to be good stewards in that regard. So
There are additional other smaller projects that we're not seeing in here as well, correct?
Yeah, so with grounds and facilities and the construction crew too, we do work on smaller projects. Like I said, the fishing piers, some of the routine trail maintenance, those sort of things we do work on with our internal guys. This is where, the last few years we had looked at opportunities with our construction crew. It started out at Observatory Park with the trails they did out there. I mean, they did such a great job. So that's where we really look at kind of identifying as we get more into design what projects fit. Again, some projects when you get into shelters and parking areas, it makes sense to have a contractor, but some things in the smaller projects we'll do internally. And then there's a lot of maintenance projects too, painting, staining, those sort of things that, we're constantly doing too throughout. This is more the capital improvements, kind of those projects are kind of what we're looking at here.
right.
Good work, thank you.
Yeah, good job, man. Thank you. So we will start getting ready for 2017. All right, next item up is the preliminary 2017 budget. This is the budget that we prepare and present to the Budget Commission. The Budget Commission meeting is in August, and so we are presenting this as a draft. You will vote on this at the July board meeting because it will go in front of the Budget Commission for approval. So take a look at this. If there are any questions, please let me know. Please call me. I don't know if there are any questions today or not, but here it is. You're seeing our 5 main funds: your general fund, your lane improvement fund, your retirement reserve, pretty straightforward. The capital projects land acquisition fund that we set up to hold money, allows us to hold money for up to 10 years. And last but not least, the canine fund, which still isn't quite set up yet, but we need to show it, so, to the budget commission. All right, so just presenting that. No motion, no resolution. Any questions today? All right, if not, next up is commissioners' time. Just have a few items. The privilege, as I often do, in attending one of our special events this last Sunday, June 12th, and that was our Caveman Crawl 5K trail run. There was also a 1 mile walk. It was great to see. It was great to see staff working together, a ton of volunteers so supportive of the event. We had 346 register for the event, as opposed to 309 in 2015. We had a beautiful morning. It was a chilly morning, but the sun shined, so it was a great day. We had 8 sponsors this year, totaling $8,200. As you may or may not know, this money goes towards our action adventure camps for our youth that our naturalists and our naturalist staff host. So the money goes right to those camps, everything from kayaks to we hire our summer interns to run those camps, and so it's part of keeping kids interested in nature, working with our naturalist staff, sometimes bicycling, kayaking, canoeing, a little bit of everything. So that is what the Caveman Crawl is and was to benefit. So it was a great event. It's always gratifying to me to meet our new volunteers, recognize volunteers that have been around forever, and that just show up and give so selflessly to contribute to events like Caveman Crawl. So great event. We have a press release coming out on a fishing contest. We stocked, I believe it was last Monday or Tuesday, we stocked 50 largemouth bass, 25 at Wild Goose Pond here at Big Creek Park, and 25 at Lodge Pond at Swine Creek. The idea being, and we're marketing this through social media and a press release, to give kids 17 and under the opportunity to catch one of those tag fish and redeem it for a prize. Fishing tackle, the older kids might not want flambeau fishing tackle, so there's the provision of a $10 gift card, and for 5 big winners, a $50 gift card. So, pretty neat. We had a gentleman come in the first evening. He got wind of it somehow, and he caught 9 tag fish. So we awarded him for 1, but he was quite enthusiastic about fishing. So, we got our summer poster contest up and running. This is a little bit of a spin on our posters that we had made up this year, and kind of the national park idea that my family and I have done, where you go around and take a picture next to a park sign at a national park. So we received 2, including the young lady who was on the poster. Yeah, it's a great picture of her with the poster. So, and then we'll do a drawing and an award weekly for the winners of the poster contest. Just want to remind the board, staff and I have talked about this, we have set the Park Appreciation Day on September 17th, Saturday, September 17th, so mark your calendars. If you can be there, that'd be great. If you can't, we understand. But the idea being that the park commissioners and staff will each take a park, and between the hours of 10 and 2, conduct some park-based activities. Len might fish, John Morris is probably going to fish and play cornhole and maybe a few other things, and we'll look at the opportunity to provide some refreshments and things of that nature, but to interact with the people that utilize our parks. So Swine Creek's spoken for by me, unless one of you trump me. So, so yeah, Saturday, September 17th. And that's all I have for Commissioner's time. Do the 3 of you have anything? Okay. If not, we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the purchase of property and an update on a personnel staffing issue.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gertz? Ms. Mrs. Detory?
Yes.
And Mr. Park?
Yes.
Thank you.